Hey guys, it's Luke from Black Dog. I just wanted to give everyone a huge thank you for the recent likes, follow, subs, comments, and to the people who have reached out to us for help and those who have gave us reviews. It truly means the world to Beth, Paul, and myself. This is what we rely on for exposure and attention. We built this from the ground up and formed this group with the purest and most real intent. We're an amazing group and getting much more active. So again, thank you everyone from the bottom of our hearts. This truly means everything to us. We wouldn't be here without you. In a recent case, it was probably the most heavy and compelling one we've done so far, so I'll get to it. During Thanksgiving week, around that time, a couple had reached out and I reached out to them, and we kept in contact, and they made a video on their testimonial activities that have been going on in the house, and what they were saying was pretty perplexing, and I decided I wanted to chat with them a little bit more and see what we could do. The backstory, it's very dark. This is in the early to mid 90s. The homeowner's friend, she had a best friend. They were inseparable, just best friend relationship, and she ultimately went down this very bad path, getting involved into satanic culture, the occult, witchcraft, just very bad things, and she completely changed her appearance, dyed her hair black dresses, wearing these massive inverted crosses as necklaces. And she ultimately did meet her demise that way. She unfortunately took her life. She left her friend, which is the homeowner, a box for her, specifically for no one else, just for the homeowner. That was her best friend. And inside the box was human hair, satanic Bibles, satanic Barbies, writings from the Necronomicon. Just everything in that box was occult and things that were used in dark rituals. So she had no idea about that when she got the box, but when she did get the box, when her friend passed, she was too grief-stricken to, go through it. So she put it away for a good amount of years. And over time, she brought herself, she felt she was comfortable enough to open the box. And when she opened the box and found the contents, that's when the activity started. And she started seeing her friend manifest in a very different appearance. It was her, but her hair was like as if it was underwater. And she sensed this overwhelming presence of evil. And the more fearful she would get, the closer her friend would get, until they were nose to nose, eye to eye. And I'll attach a drawing that Beth drew from visualizing it. That's a pretty disturbing image. I mean, you can see her friend, and behind her is a black, massive, demonic entity with horns. So for those of you that don't know, Beth is a intuitive, has the ability to hear, see, and visualize things that we cannot. And from the description of what the homeowner encountered with her friend's manifestations, this is what Beth came up with. And this is what we showed the homeowner, and it was very, very similar to what everything she was seeing. The horned figure was not in the manifestations, but this absolutely terrified her, seeing her friend manifest this way and knowing this is not how she is and who she is, having such an overbearing presence of evil. And thankfully, she has not had these physical manifestations in quite some time, but it's still very active. And whenever she gets upset, the stress, the energy in the house picks up, and things will start happening on cue. But behind her friend is a big, black, horned, demonic entity. And it's attached to her. She did practice these summoning rituals when she was alive. So I go out there and help them out and listen to them and kind of walk through, and they've had furniture flipped over, all of the chairs in the dining room be pushed face out, and they're all a uniform pattern. Everything's deliberate. I mean, their recliners are so heavy and it's just massive. There's no way they could just flip over a cat. It would take an absolute amount of force to do that. So when I'm there, I don't initially pick anything up. I do, however, go into the movie room with them, and I'm listening to her boyfriend speak. And I keep going like this when I'm listening to him because I feel like someone's behind me, and I put my hand out, and there's a cold spot. It was so cold, just so cold. And, you know, shortly after, we're all sitting there, and, you know, the homeowner, she's coming in, walking in the hall. He's sitting on the couch, and I'm standing 4 feet away from him, and all of a sudden the lights just shut off, and I ask, is there any way that you guys can control those lights, or are they motion timed? They're like, no, that's, you know, they're used to that in their everyday occurrence. I'm not, so I don't live with it. I just investigate it and try to debunk it, or I rule if there is no explanation and it has to be something other, if it's just something that's not from this world. And I left. And when I left and came home, I think something followed me because I just did not feel like myself for 4 or 5 days. Kept waking up at 3 a.m. every night, which I never do. And when I was awake, I heard my bathroom door just slam. And it was with force. So, you know, it's November, December. I have no reason to want to keep my windows open during the Minnesota winters. I mean, it couldn't have been a draft, so I thought maybe it was the, you know, I have cats, so maybe it was the cat. So I'm just brushing that off, not paying it any mind, because that's just what I'm trained to do. I don't give anything a food source, so I'm sitting there in bed, and I put my hand up on my pillow more, and I feel my cat, and just my eyes just, I literally just feel my eyes just go like as wide as they can get. And I cleansed, and thankfully I haven't had anything since, but I got together with Beth and Paul and told them what was going on. And Beth had said something about a wooden box to ask them about. So I asked them, and to my surprise, they had exactly what Beth was seeing and describing, tucked away deep in the closet. The homeowner went and buried it out, and look, take a picture and send it to them, and they do. And Beth also saw this entity that was just yay big, small child, unrecognizable animalistic features. But however, she did say something that I could confirm was demonic, was the limbs and the arms. It moved in like a ape-like way. The arms were longer than the body, and it walked just like how an ape would. And amazingly, we caught something, the homeowner caught something on camera that almost exactly matches what Beth was telling us to a T when we got together, and we found this reviewing the footage, that we believe this to be the demonic entity. But it was very dark. There's so much that happened that I couldn't make a video long enough to explain it. But I'm just gonna give you guys the backstory and the explanation and just other things. So thank you so much for viewing. Please like, subscribe, comment, And if you know anybody or if you need help with any unwanted guests in your home, you know who to reach out. And here's a picture of the furniture. There is some serious weight to those, as you can see. It would be absolutely impossible for something to flip on its own like that. The chairs at the dining table would be turned around and the seats would be facing outward, and it would be a complete uniform pattern. Crosses hanging on the wall to be flipped upside down so it appears inverted. And here is what everything is centered around: her deceased friend's belongings. She keeps it in this storage room with the crawl space attached to it, and that is where she feels the energy to be the most powerful and active. Things will bang, be thrown, hear noises of things being thrown and crumpled around and make a mess. And you walk in and the storage room is completely trashed, as if somebody came in and just trashed it. Looked like they were robbing the place looking for something. And I can't explain that, and neither can they. Now, this is going to be shocking, so I'm going to warn you, but some manifestations occurred as well. And as a demonologist in demonology, this is what we refer to as materialization. It would be materialization, substances of unknown nature of liquids. You can clearly see the materialization manifest all over this Ouija board right here. Her friend also had a notebook that she kept diaries in. She obviously altered it to look different, but this is the actual notebook she showed me and showed the rest of the team when we all got there. So this is a part of the story where her boyfriend comes in. So he gets a notification on his phone that there's motion. And he says, into the camera, "Hello, is anybody there?" Well, after he had said that, his phone had started going off. And it was a picture of the woman's friend who had died. And it kept sending it to his phone so fast. And so, it was just so on cue that it was be no way possible for another cellular to be able to do that. That has been tested multiple times. And something was in Arabic, translated to "take pity." The next morning, they talked. They had absolutely no recollection of being able to do that. She was asleep. It was just impossible. Now, this is where he starts to become affected through this. He would have his stuff just randomly go missing. And it got to the point to where, he would say to his girlfriend, "Okay, it's a good joke. I'm not going to be mad. It's a pretty funny joke, okay? But you got me." And they would be looking at each other, confused and not knowing what any one of them is talking about. They would be both confused. And these items that belonged to him would disappear, and only to be resurfaced and found in either damaged or broken pieces. As you can see right here, it is completely bent. And if you look, you can't see any impressions or anything that like a vise or a pliers could do. I know Paul was heavily looking into that when we were there and was just every angle looking at it, making sure that there was no imprints on that. He also would start finding a picture of her under his pillow when he would start to go to sleep. You know, you come out, fluff your pillow, and next thing you know, a picture is underneath the pillow waiting for him. And obviously, that is not something that they would do as a joke to each other, to put that there. And he, at that point, was that I believe, if I'm correct on this, that was his point where he was like, okay, I am officially freaked out. This is not normal. This is not made up. We can't break this down as rational anymore. There is something going on. And it was also around this time that he had believed he possibly saw a black mist or a shadow. He was half asleep, he said, right at that borderline to being asleep and being awake and conscious. And he thought it was his girlfriend on, the side of the bed and side of the room. And it was just a black mist, black shadow, dark, blacker than the abyss. You will be able to visibly see it in the pitch black darkness because the silhouette and the shadow will be so dark and ominous. And that is usually some type of demonic manifestation. So anytime you see a shadow, it isn't necessarily always evil, but evil has always been a shadow manifestation. So this is the box that I had asked them about, that Beth had mentioned that she was seeing in her head. So I sent them a message and asked them. And when they got the message, the homeowner, she ran down to the storage and dug this out. It's exactly how Beth described it. It was that wooden box, and there's something centered around it. So this was a very surprising find and evidence for us.